I feel where you're going. I think I feel where you're going. Because to be completely honest, you know, what they went through, how they were raised, and of course they want to do it differently, but who taught them how to manage their anger? And so this is where the mental health kicks in and who we are. So I bring this episode today to bring a little bit more clarity to 2021. And I tell you, I'm not going, but I'm rock hard. I'm not going, but I'm rock hard. Went through my head every day. When I tell you, it's on repeat all day, because believe it or not, what we have been through, what our ancestors have contributed to, has an effect on who we are. Let's get into it. Okay, hey guys, so we are back. It is episode 4, and this is part 2 of childhood trauma. Okay, we have a couple of new people with us today, and we are also celebrating Juneteenth, guys. So if everybody knows and everybody is aware of, this is the first year they actually deemed it to be a federal and state holiday on about the 16th of June of 2021. But Juneteenth is significant because that is when the Emancipation Proclamation was set to be released, and the slaves were released from being slaves. They were free, okay? So that is an amazing thing. And we're going to get into the history of that. It's basically in 1863. It was January 1st. I thought it was December 6th, but Betty just had a conversation with me. So it was January 1st, 1863 is when the bill first came out by Abraham Lincoln, guys. When Abraham Lincoln signed this bill, it did not get over to our ancestors or to the people who were enslaved. And so they received the message about 1865, and that was on June 19th, 1865. And let me tell you, they was out of there, okay, like swimwear. We what? Oh, bad. So that's what happened. And ever since then, we have been taking advantage of every opportunity given to us, and we have been demanding the ones that have been taken away from us. So I'm so grateful today because our ancestors made it possible for us to be here today to create this web series, for us to all come together as a culture, for us to help heal each other, for us to help speak life into one another, and for us to help support success in our culture. So, to start off Juneteenth, guys, we're going to break the ice a little bit because there's a couple of people here. We have an audience here.
Yes.
We have a couple of people that's going to speak today. This is about childhood trauma, so it might get a little emotional or a little sensitive, but that is okay. We are here to support one another. So to start it off, I wanted to honor some of the Black artists, poets, and authors in our culture. So I wanted to touch on who was your favorite Black artist, who was your favorite Black poet, who was your favorite Black author. So who wants to start?
I can start first.
All right.
I'm not going to say that I have so many different favorites, but one person that I do want to acknowledge is Billie Holiday and her Strange Fruit song.
Yes.
That song is very powerful, and one thing that I'm so excited that we're talking about on today is slavery, Juneteenth, and our favorite Black ancestors who created music, because if you look at our history, all of our great creators, they turned their pain into art form.
Mm-hmm.
And so Billie Holiday, I wanted to recognize her because that song Strange Fruit was so amazing. It was so heartfelt. It was so purposeful. It was so intentional.
Yes.
And she helped a lot of people see the pain and the normality of Black lives being slain and us being lynched on these trees, these magnolia trees, and it just hit so deep. So I definitely wanted to bring she brought life to it. She brought some awareness to it. The movie just came out recently, and we were able to see kind of what the behind the scenes of her process of bringing that forth to life, and even her struggles. So I just wanted to touch on that. I think it's great that we're going over our ancestors and art and everything, because we Black people have mastered turning pain into art. So
right, and I'm glad you said Billie Holiday, because I was saying who was your favorite Black artist now?
Mm-hmm.
And Billie Holiday is just so great to say right now on June 19th, because she was a representation of the United States being against what she was trying to do, which was bring awareness, which we are doing today. So thank you so much, Billie Holiday. May you rest in heaven peacefully and gracefully. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Real queen.
Yes. Anybody else want to talk about their favorite Black artist? I'm just dying over my face right now. It's giving me very much service.
She's preparing herself.
Am I next?
She's thinking
Do
like
you
this.
want to tell us who your favorite song is and Black artist is? It could be anything. No, your mind is wet mode. Okay. Anybody, so
She like this little baby count.
Yeah, mine's definitely is Little Baby, and y'all already did.
And you know, mine is Tamar Braxton, so it's
What
like,
song?
Oh wow, I love her.
Prettiest Girl. That's
Prettiest
my-
Girl. That's
Oh,
okay.
I
my
love
favorite.
this song.
And where do you like it though? What did Tamar Braxton bring to you?
Everything. I just love her. Like, you know, she done been through a lot too.
Yes.
And then she finally found happiness
Yes.
before. And then her song, Prettiest Girl, when you been through a lot, but this song in your head is like, it just, every word makes you feel good about yourself to the point where I be singing it every day. Like,
Yeah, so thank you to Tamar Braxton because us women can relate, sis.
Yes,
and
Okay.
sometimes we want to feel like the prettiest girl.
that part.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out TB.
All right, and so so mine was definitely Lil Baby if I wanted to jump in there. Today, right now, just as far as like a jam, you know, I would have to say Every Chance. I'ma turn up on a hater every chance that I get. I want the biggest watch they got. And it's really, I love it because everything that Lil Baby talk about is about motivation. I'm sorry. I'm about to get this bag and we about to get this money. And he also touches on our culture. He also touches on mental health. So he is one of my favorite artists. Shout out to Lil Baby. Thank you. Keep doing your work. Don't let nobody shy you away from mental health. It is real. Expose it. Love you. And Polo G. Talk about anxiety. So yes, I'm a trap fan. So anybody else want to say who their favorite Black artist is right now?
My favorite.
Heemy.
I'm gonna go with you, Lil Baby. Like,
Wait a minute, before you start, I'm sorry guys. Can everybody say who they are before they start? I didn't even know we was just having a conversation and people ain't even know.
my name Haim, also Betty's brother,
Yeah,
older brother.
we get that a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, for me.
Not older, I'm the oldest.
Yeah, for me, Lil Baby, man, just everything, like, he never missed. Like,
Never.
he never missed. I don't care what it is, what genre. You know, there's a lot of white artists that call on him when they want to hit. And,
Yeah.
for me today, Lil Baby, man, like how you said, like, he motivates you. He talks about, you know, real life issues. Like, and the biggest thing, he gives back to his community.
Yes.
Like, and he bring everybody that was with him up along with him. Like,
Yes.
he's not stingy at all. Like,
Yes.
I love that. Like, because you know, success and that fame, it kind of, it throws
Yeah,
a lot of
people,
people off
yeah.
track. And it throws, you know what I mean? So, but
true.
yeah, like Lil Baby, as far as like R&B, I can like Tank, Usher,
Oh yeah.
Chris Brown.
I mean, we could get a little note if he don't mind, but 'cause he also, you know,
He's an artist himself.
but I mean, that's up to you. Whatever you want to do, it could be halfway through the show. I'm just saying, but go
Yo,
ahead.
like, being as though I do music, like I like a plethora of like different
Right.
types of music.
Different genres. That's what's right.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. You don't have a song, Shay?
No, I like a lot of music. So
So no favorites right now.
No, I like everyone. Like not everyone, not like a lot of people. Like
Right.
I listen to a lot of rap, like Baltimore rappers, Lil Baby, Detroit rappers. I
Yeah.
listen to a lot of different stuff.
And that's I have a cousin that does that too, but she's in the audience hiding, so we're not going to
I know.
You got DJ Ricky Bobby in the house. So Trey, because he's an artist as well, so Trey writes and sings.
Oh wow.
Yes.
I wasn't expecting that. Thank you.
So what's your favorite? Because we could go, we could touch anything.
Go with David.
I do love Lil Baby too. I was saying that to Raquel recently. I was like, he currently is in my top 5, along with J. Cole. He just dropped
Yes.
a project
Love
that
Yes.
I really love.
Love you.
But yeah, I've really been inspired lately by rap music.
Yeah.
I'd say just that, like Betty was saying earlier, transforming pain into relatable art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah, so
Yeah.
shout out to Lil Baby again.
Yeah.
And your second one was again?
oh, J. Cole.
Oh, J. Cole.
J.
My
Cole.
bad, J.
J.
Cole.
Cole.
Because let me tell you,
J.
J. Cole got me through some stuff. I used to be a GNA.
Yeah.
And I had to have my earphones on and J. Cole all the way up in my ears for me to
Yeah.
go around and keep tolerating the deaths. Taking care of an elderly person. Okay, It is a lot to it. Shout out to the G&As.
Yes.
All right. So, anybody else want to touch on any music? Zoe, you sent me a song. He's in the audience, but he sent me a song. What was yours, Zoe? I know what it is, but I'll let you say it.
Lately, I've just been listening to like Rod Wave, so
Right.
I've been on his little wave with it.
So tell me, because you said freestyle, Broadway freestyle was your like top round right now. Why? Why is that your top one?
Because of the things he say on the song is like coming up in a struggle, you go through a lot, so it's like you experience the things he say, like so it touch you. So,
Right.
you know how them things go.
Yeah, definitely, most definitely. What about Sam or Ron? Anybody else in the audience? No. Okay, so basically, I just want to say that it sounds like all of us are pretty much saying that this music touches us on a level of explanations for our lives. These people who decided to create or was blessed with these gifts came out and was able to express their experiences, and guess what? It was relatable to all of us, and it touches us so deeply that it helps us get through things, that it motivates us to make money, that it inspires us to stop doing bad things sometimes when we do bad things. J. Cole, shout out to J. Cole.
Stop doing bad
meditate.
things.
Okay, so so that was a good little icebreaker. Shay didn't really get to introduce herself. Did you want to say who you were?
Porsche.
I'm Porsche. That's it.
No description is necessary.
So you gotta get into this dress. Porsche.
My name is Porsche. I'm a chef.
Yeah, she is.
I cook.
Yeah,
That's
very
right.
good.
That's what's up.
Okay, and so that was great. I just want to thank if I missed anything on the Emancipation Proclamation, because it can get so deep, y'all, and I don't want to get too deep, but I do want to let y'all know that I want to talk about land. I was talking about this with my friend Simone yesterday, and basically here in the United States, 98 point something percent of the land is owned by Caucasian people, which leaves less than 1% of the United States soil and land being owned by black people and other. Okay, so we don't really want to get into the details about how much black people own, but nevertheless, that leaves the power, that leaves the wealth, that leaves generational wealth, that leaves everything in the hands of the Caucasian people. And this is what makes them the majority race. This is what gives them the power to be racist, because when we go to these banks, they own them. When we're looking for these loans for our homes, when we go to get these cars, they own that. When we're looking to buy a new car, when we go to even own land, if you ever looked into buying property or buying land, they own that. And redlining is something that existed back in the day, but it is something that still exists today because no laws were set into place to change it. And so that is something that black people and people in our culture do not know. What we do again is sweep things under the rug. So we don't let people know that there is still an A, B, C, D in listing when it comes to areas and neighborhoods. And of course, if you think about it now, oh, you down Penn North, that would be a D zone, which would be the red zone. The red zone back then was clearly stated to be where black people were and where you did not want to move. The A zone was no black people whatsoever. And so you already know what was in the middle, and you had those choices. And also, again, the people that own it have the choice of who they want to rent to or who they want to sell to and what areas they want to put you in. And so here today, again, is so significant because we're overcoming these things. We're overcoming discriminatory practices that are in the system. We have to realize that all of the things that started in the system is what created the trauma for our culture. If you all seen episode 3, you hear that I say the core of trauma starts from slavery. So when it comes to mental abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, any type of abuse, it starts from slavery. The United States have shaped and formed the society to behave in a manner and to respond in a manner that they want us to respond in. So this is so significant, guys, because with bringing awareness to what we have been through and what we have overcome, we continue to change laws. We continue to bring and create in our culture, and we continue to build. And when we continue to build, we will start to own. The goal is to own, because we need ownership. We need to share generational wealth with white people. We do not need to live in a world where we are inferior, where we do not have the capabilities to live the greatest all-American lives that they live. And we have normalized trauma because this is all that we have been educated on and all that we know. So with saying that, I want to get into the episode, which is part 2, childhood trauma. And we're going to start by talking about dysfunction. Miss Betty had the perfect definition for dysfunction. So Betty, if you could just explain to everybody what your definition of dysfunction is, or not even just you personally, what God gave to you to explain to everybody today, your definition of dysfunction.
So shout out to my therapist. See her once a week, right? Every Wednesday at 12 noon. It is very crucial that we all have therapy. And I say that because I was on the phone with my therapist and I was going through a conversation, and we narrowed down and pinpointed that the reason why I was allowing certain things to happen in my life is because I started my life off living in a life of dysfunction. And I kept saying dysfunction, but then she helped me realize what dysfunction is. And it basically is functioning in pain, whether that's financial, spiritual, emotional, mental, whatever it is, you're functioning in pain. And so I was loving that we could talk about dysfunction today, because a lot of us can attest that we function in pain majority of our lives, something that we normalize. So dysfunction is functioning in pain, whatever that pain was caused. Usually the pain is caused by some type of form of abuse, whether we are conscious of it or not.
Absolutely. And so with that, we did have Trey. He's over here in the audience hiding, but he was going to touch a little bit on dysfunction. Your experience overall with dysfunction.
Shout out to my therapist also.
Therapy is where okay?
Therapy, has been,
Don't sleep on it.
It's been great. It's been transformative.
It has been the cap on being able to elevate.
So, with dysfunction, I'd say that it's going to be different depending on the person. I think each person is probably going to have their own definition, which is going to be shaped by their experiences. My experience was that, for me, I moved around a lot. So I bounced between different households.
Yeah, that's very dysfunctional.
That was confusing for me to try to adapt to different laws, different ways.
Right. Every time you went somewhere new.
Yeah. So I found myself as a kid not being able to identify it then, but as an adult looking back, I can now identify it, where I'm like, oh, I was constantly struggling with trying to find a sense of balance and normalcy, because I went from living with my mom to living with my father and his girlfriend to living with my grandmother, and then living with another grandmother part-time, going to different schools. So I was constantly having to adapt and adjust.
Right. Kind of
being in those different environments. And so I think that was hard for me.
Right.
And looking back, I probably could have benefited from more structure and being in a single household. Because one of the things that I talked to my therapist about when we first began our journey is, I'm like, why am I always feeling like lost or confused, like trying to find my footing? And so unpacking that, I understood that it was because of some of those experiences. And I want to say that the people behind me in my tribe, I think they did the best that they could do. Right. You know what I mean? So it's not to shame anybody or to say that anyone did something wrong.
Absolutely.
But it was just hard. And I think kids really need structure.
Yeah. And we touched on that in episode 3, stating that, again, because the core value is slavery, and who raised those children, And so we get to our parents, and they're experiencing their lives as well as trying to manage our lives.
Yeah.
And so it isn't always perfect. And even today, if anybody is a parent today, you understand that, it's not perfect.
No.
Sometimes you might yell at your kid and feel bad. I was going to say something deeper, but
Stay tuned.
But no, yeah, so that's definitely great. So
Yeah.
where do you think that, well, you did say where you are today, it pretty much makes you feel like you're still a little confused.
Yeah, I think I felt more of that last year before I started with a therapist than I
Okay.
do now, which I'm so thankful for.
And who told you go to a therapist?
Well, I was confronted with.
She wanted right.
Oh, you did? Okay. But we talk about mental health so much, it's hard to like relate it back to a certain conversation.
Right.
And I'm thankful for that too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Being able to have a group of people around you where you can talk openly
Yeah.
about feelings and emotions is
very important.
Great. Yeah.
Like not judging one another and understanding one another.
Yeah. Right. So, yeah, I started therapy, and how it happened was that I was confronted with a situation that just had me really emoting in a way that I didn't understand.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is that? But I think it was, I suddenly was dealing with so much change at once.
Right.
And I couldn't handle it. So
Right.
I started therapy. So
Right.
Yeah.
And so basically your way to cope was therapy. So I just want to thank you for hitting those 3 major points. But I just want to get into this real quick. I just want you to tell a story about your experience with your first therapist, because I want everybody to know,
yes.
even if you try therapy for a first time
Yes.
and it doesn't work out, that doesn't mean stop, okay?
No, it does not.
Everybody isn't free,
Yes.
you know, and it's okay.
Stay the path.
So
Yeah.
real quick,
That's true.
Therapy is like dating.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're gonna go on a few dates. They're not gonna be good.
Yeah.
You're gonna want to leave sometimes the minute you hit the table, but
Yeah.
you got to get through it. So
Please explain that story.
yeah, I was desperate, to really talk through what it was that I was going through at this
Right.
particular time, and I found the first therapist available with an appointment through my healthcare provider. Right? He was in my neighborhood. I'm like, this is great. So I go, and the office was a wreck. It was, files and paper stacked to the ceiling.
And we use
almost.
computers now. I am a person who counsels mental health behavior specialist, therapist. We use computers.
Yes. So there were files everywhere. I didn't judge. I was in such distress. I'm like, I just need to talk, right? So I began, unpacking some of my issues, and he was just leading me in these directions that didn't really make sense to me. I'm like, I'm here talking to you, about childhood stuff, and you're trying to like point the finger at different people in my life, and I'm like, well, I don't have a problem with that. But anyway, several times during the conversation, I realized I'd look up and he was asleep. And that was the issue.
That is so funny.
I'm laughing now, and I was laughing then.
It's not funny
But I'm
because
like,
you're going through something.
I need help. You know what I mean? What is happening?
I would've got
Yeah, right.
But when he
So,
woke up and stuff.
when he came to,
He was motherfucking
each
tired.
time he was trying to pretend as if he had heard what I had just said. So, trying to respond, he's like, oh, you feel worthless, you said? I'm like, no, I didn't say that. I don't feel like that, thankfully.
That's horrible.
So it was a bad experience.
That is terrible.
That's
He
a
called me
terrible
back,
experience.
the following week wanting to set up more appointments. I said, nah, I'm not interested.
You should have
So-
said maybe you need to go see a therapist.
Yeah, he was probably beyond his prime. I mean,
Right.
because you read his bio, he had done several studies and all this great work.
Beyond
and so I'm
your
like, he probably should not be practicing anymore. Yeah.
You should go write a couple books now.
Right.
I wanna shout out to you for standing up for yourself and removing yourself, because some people would have taken them 10 sessions before they realized, damn, this is just what it is.
Oh,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So
I'm
shout
good
out
with
to you
that.
for
Yeah.
immediately
Not even
removing
know.
yourself.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I have to say, guys, when I heard that story, that was one of the funniest therapist
We
stories I've
laughed so hard.
ever heard in my life.
We
Not
laughed
you
so hard. I
sleep.
mean, the level of unprofessionalism
So you feel worthless.
was crazy. Oh, you said you feel worthless?
I know. I
That's why he was
No, I
projecting.
didn't
I
say
think I'm
that.
getting the end of the story. You keep projecting on me what you think I'm trying to say, because
Right.
you keep getting the end of the story. Like,
Right.
Excuse me, what?
Yeah. And I'm like, this whole session was not about my sister. He kept trying to turn it on her, and I'm like, this wasn't
She had nothing to
about
do with
her.
it.
Yeah,
Right.
So
So
Wow.
Good
I'm
times,
sorry,
good
but that
times.
was a funny story. I'm sorry, I was just cracking up.
Yeah, it was.
So getting into the next topic away from dysfunction, we were talking about verbal and emotional abuse, Miss Betty.
Yes.
But
Not the crossing of the eyes.
we're missing.
Me too.
Right, so
It
we
is.
can all kind of gather in there if we do want to talk about it. So I guess I'll start it off with saying when it comes to verbal, the tongue is a powerful tool.
Yes, it is.
All right, and people always say, sticks and stones don't break your bones,
It
but words
does.
will never hurt you. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
words
hurt.
carry energy.
Absolutely.
Sticks and
If
stones.
anyone-
You hit me.
Right. And if anyone is familiar with energy, you know the realness in energy. And so if you have ever practiced, not even, I don't want to say practice, for people start thinking witchcraft. Okay, but if you have ever been in a relationship and you got so angry with somebody, you like, I can't stand this, I hate him, I just hope this, and the next day something happened, that's energy. There was energy put into those words. And so when someone is speaking to you and they are speaking to you aggressively, or they are speaking to you in a disrespectful tone, or they're downing you, like you dumb, you don't know how to do this, you did this wrong too, you messed this up, that is a form of verbal abuse. I don't know what that was. Okay, that is a form of verbal abuse, okay? So it's just like, even if the person doesn't curse, someone coming to you and just say you cook something. I mean, you could have put little blueberries in it or something. That's verbal abuse.
Mm-hmm.
That's attacking you because psychologically you're understanding this as if what you did just wasn't good enough. And so it's just as toxic as physical abuse, as emotional abuse, as anything else.
And I want to point out something too that I've learned. With words, sometimes you don't even realize that you have remembered these things until something is said and you're triggered. I was having a conversation with my father this week, and he brought up a conversation that I haven't even thought about since, from my childhood. And I was like, oh wow, like my mind remembered that.
Right.
So, words and experiences are stored in your subconscious, and you don't always realize it until you're presented with the trigger.
Right.
So
I wanted that. I think that was going to be my my takeaway on the verbal abuse is that we are, that saying, sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will, but sticks and stones going to bruise me. That bruise will be over in about a week.
Ew.
But those words, I have to carry those with me for my entire life.
Until I figure them out.
That part. And so a lot of times, especially us as children, your subconscious mind represents 95% of your mind power. So imagine things that and it's always recorded from the day that you were born.
Yeah.
So imagine from the time you were a child, these things being told to you, whether you remember them or not, when something happens and you're triggered, it just, and how you react is so different. It could be rage, it could be emotions, it could anything.
Yeah.
You don't know how you're going to react. So we have to be very careful with our words. And I think Tan wanted to give her a little bit about her experience with verbal abuse and where you're at with that and how you realized it was affecting your life, and and it's real big for us parents as well. I just want to say that we don't want to keep going in the same cycles.
Absolutely.
That verbal abuse was pushed down onto us, and then we find ourselves. And Tom was going to speak a little bit about that.
Yeah. So when I was younger, I was basically put in the care of my grandmother and my aunt, which I do love. But like growing up, from living with my mother to living with my grandmother, it was like a big difference. Because with my mother, she was there, but she wasn't mentally there because she was on drugs. But moving to my grandmother's house is like you started getting things, you started doing stuff that that you wasn't used to doing. But with but with their household, it's like all they did was fuss and cuss at each other all day long. As far as her, my aunt, my father, like that's all they knew. So when you're young and you do anything wrong, it's like, oh, bitch, why you do that? don't touch that. Like you be like, all right, it becomes the norm.
Yeah.
Like, but at the same time, you sit and you think about stuff like, wow, like why are they talking to me like this? Like, it was times I would go in the corner and cry, like why are they talking to me like that? But as I got older and stuff like that, I'm like, it was different situations. Whereas though I always thought about them or what they said to me. Like I never spoke on when I was 19. I got pregnant. Nobody knows. But it was like I was so mentally messed up in the head that I went and got an abortion because I couldn't bring my child into this household and listen to them. It's like they made up my mind for me. I didn't make up my mind. I'm sorry, y'all. This is really emotional.
It's okay. It's definitely getting emotional. I'm getting emotional too because I can recall this time frame and I was there, so I know exactly how it happened, what happened.
It's like I didn't want to do it, but I had to.
And this is something that you have never spoke on. This is actually, I'm sorry, my first time hearing you speak on it, and I'm happy because you know you came to Angel Baby Awareness, and I had Angel Baby Awareness for people who lost their babies, and so I thought you were there as a support system because we are where we are in age right now. I didn't think back to that time, but when you you spoke about that experience, and so clearly this is something. And the only reason I'm emotional, y'all, because we blood, and it's like my sister. But when you spoke about that experience. So obviously this is something that was effective to you, and you've never got a chance to say this to anybody. You've been walking around with this pain for so long because you felt bad that you was 19 and they forced you into something and you didn't have an idea. So, you know, open up. It's okay to release.
Yeah, once you say it and it's out, you know, you become more and more comfortable talking about it in other
And I never spoke on it. This is like the first time I'm ever speaking on it.
And this is for anybody who has had to experience getting an abortion. Sometimes, yes, we do have people who like, everybody keeping this baby, and it's easy for them. But it's just as bad as a miscarriage. If you are carrying around a pregnancy and you really truly want to keep this child, and you know deep down in your soul that you are not supposed to get rid of this child, but all odds are against you, obstacles are against you, life is against you, trials and tribulations are against you, decisions are made, and sometimes they aren't in the most best way.
Absolutely.
So we have to deal with that, and that hurts. It hurts.
It's like a forced decision.
It was.
And you have like tons of self-talk.
It was definitely
running through your mind.
And then going in there and sitting, like, I always said I would never do that. But it's like, at this time, it's like, that's all I had. Like, I keep hearing this from them. And I was like, I can't bring a child into this world, in this household, because the way they talk to me, I don't want to mistreat my child and stuff like that. Like, I didn't even give the father the opportunity to even speak on anything, because it's like, this was my decision. This is what I had to do because this is what they made me do.
Right.
Even though I didn't want to, it's like, this is what they made me do. And it's like, I sat in there, like, it was so depressing for me. Like, I never spoke on it because it's like people lose kids all the time, and it's like, why ever have another child? Thank God I have 2 beautiful kids now.
Right.
But it's like, I feel like I missed out because it's like, I don't know what it was or how it could have been with that, how it could have changed my life or anything.
It is.
It's an unexplainable hole. It's like the depths of it, and that's why I did Angel Baby Awareness, because the depths of it is so deep. It's so hard to explain because sometimes you didn't meet this baby. I didn't get to. I just carried you. You know what I'm saying? So the depths of the pain is definitely unexplainable. Is definitely deep. But I want to say, with you knowing that you made these choices because of this verbal abuse or because of what you was going through, I just want to say, like, where are you today with it? Like, what would you teach your kids, or what have you learned from it, or what do you see today, or what can you tell another person to help another person who might be in the same experience?
I just always say, like, sometimes you gotta, after that, I took myself out the situation where as though I moved out. It was no looking back, because it's like, in my head I'm thinking like, I'll never have a child again, because when you go through this process, you reading all these paperwork and stuff like that stating that you might not have kids again. going through this. So it's like you on the table and it's like all this stuff going on.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm thinking in my head like, damn, I ain't gonna never have a child again. Like I see everybody with their kids and stuff like that, and I'm not talking about it. So it's like, and then when I get home, it's like it's still the fussing and the cussing. Like I can't believe you do stupid shit like this and stuff like that. It's to the point where at the end of the day, I be yelling at my kids.
Yeah.
So bad that I be having. Sometimes I bust out crying when I'm by myself. Like why do I shouldn't do this.
Right. And it's a learning process. You got to check yourself. And this is where childhood trauma is important to bring awareness to, because you know now mentally that, all right, this is just a behavior that I had learned.
Absolutely.
Albert Bandura theory.
Because we normalize.
This is a learned behavior.
The yelling
right.
and stuff like that.
And so I have adapted this and I have adopted this into my psychological being.
Absolutely.
And so if you are able to understand that, then you're able to sit and cry. Who cares if you had to go in the room and cry to realize it?
And then I have to go and apologize to my kids, like, you know, I didn't mean this, but I need you to do this the right way. And I had to have a conversation with my son because he's so emotional.
Yeah.
Like, he's so emotional. Not having his biological father. So it's like, I've been through that, so I know how that feels.
Right.
But talking to him and stuff like, he'd be like, you don't have to yell at me. And he's like, you right. But then I come back around and yell at him because he did something else. But I really asked God to take that away from me.
And it's
to
a
just
process.
talk. Yeah, it definitely is.
I was like that as well. Therapy is really
I'll be popping.
would help.
Get it all out, time.
No, I'll be popping.
The little pinch
I mean,
under
yeah.
the table.
I mean, pulling his eyes.
I used to have to stop now because he don't.
My mom used to piss the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Hey, sure.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
When we was
Probably.
wait.
Why you gotta do it like
You
that?
think you?
And sometimes they don't even make eye contact.
Yeah, and I always
It's just on the side. Yeah, right.
Think
Yeah.
I'm playing with you.
And I do that to catch him. Like, you don't sit the fuck. He's like, you don't have to talk to me like that. Like all loud.
You know, Cassius going.
Yeah.
He gonna embarrass
He be
you.
like, I know what you said.
It's my mom that did it.
Right.
Yeah. Now I just really sit back and just think about like I really have to stop. That's mental abuse because I don't want him to grow up and thinking it's okay to talk to his kids like that or his sister or anybody else like that. Like it's a work in progress.
It's in the work. It's in the work. And now you're there because I think the first step of anything, of course, everybody already knows is being able to identify the issue in itself. And so you're there. It's a process. So all right, this is what I'm going through. So how can I better manage my anger in these situations? What are my triggers? What is leading me to even feel like I have to yell? Like, what did you do that I feel like you have to yell? And then that's when it takes getting to know your child as well. Because I had to learn that they're not going to be who you want them to be. They're going to be who the hell they are.
Yeah.
But my
I
just learned
I ain't having no more. Put that on the market, y'all.
Make sure
She'll
you
be
get that
married 2/22/22. So we'll see.
No. They can have it. Shady Grove. I'm coming.
I just wanted to point out real quick, big shout out to you, Time, for even opening up and explaining that and releasing that on today. Like, you don't ever have to look back to that being so deeply buried
Right.
down. It
It
probably felt like it was right here. It may not have even been. No, but I was gonna say, one thing we have to understand about releasing, some things are buried deep down, and even just speaking on it a little bit just helps it to elevate where it comes from. Like that right there, it might take some more for it to come fully out, but the fact that you just elevated to right there, that's so huge. And you speak for so many women who have been had to get abortions, and the fact that you spoke up and say this is something, the fact that you say that you apologize to your child, how many of us got apologized to from our parents? It was more so of sit your narrow ass down and do what I said, and what I said is what I said. Right?
You need to stop walking around like it was okay.
Because you then give them, you help them, what you're doing is you're helping them to give mercy to you in your process, because you're helping them to see this is not actually right, mommy's sorry, so they're giving you mercy instead of taking on the baggage with them.
It's okay, man. It's okay. I understand you're angry.
Yeah, that part.
And the thing is,
and they gonna grow up not to want to be angry.
They do. And I learned that with Scott, because I used to be like that too. You know, I grew up in a lot of dysfunction, and so my reactions to a lot of things was fight, scream, yell, and so I was doing that to Skylar, but I noticed she was a little nervous around people, and I'm like, "Jeez, am I doing this?" And this was when she was young, so it's been a long time.
But even though I had a conversation with you were like, well, you know, he has ADHD, so it's like,
and that's another level of understanding. Like, you have to understand how he is thinking, because I have ADHD, and a lot of people didn't understand that for a while too. And so some people see it, some people don't. Now, it's so funny. I went to the mall with my sister around Christmas time, and she saw it for the first time. Now people are around me all the time, but I manage my thoughts and my anxiety and stuff, my mental health very well. But when we was in the mall this day, honey, it was so many people there that it was just causing all these thoughts and all this anxiety. So I was like all over the place. When we left the mall, she said, "Who the hell was that?" I said, "What you mean?" She's like, "You really do have that shit." I said, "What?" She said, "ADHD and anxiety." I said, "Yes." She's like, "You was like, no, I'm gonna do this. Girl, did you get that?" I said, no. Make sure you do that. I'm gonna take that over here. No, I gotta buy this. I gotta make sure because I'm reacting off of every single thought that is in my mind.
Wow.
And so I always praise my ADHD kids and my ADHD clients because it's a powerful tool to be able to have a brain that is literally thinking all these things and you are able to keep up with what it is thinking. Now the normal brain, if it's not ADHD, when you're thinking these things, it's sitting there. It's sitting in your brain. You like to punch this bitch in the face. It's all good though. I'm not gonna do it. But with ADHD, it's kind of different because it's triggering these chemicals in your brain.
Yeah, and that's how he is. Like when it comes with kids, like he forces himself on kids because he wants to play and stuff like that. But kids look at him different,
right?
Because he's really aggressive with the kids, and
I got the controller right here. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see that football over there? I can do that. Oh, did you watch the yesterday?
That sounds like my son. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
It is.
Sounds like
well, he's kind of too young now. Cause he,
we ain't gonna speak that on
right, because 1 year old is like the normal age to be exploring and stuff like that.
So
but Lord is pretty active.
Yeah.
Lord is a gift.
Yes, he is.
No, for real, Lord is life. Like I see it, I feel it. It's something about Lord. We shall see.
We shall see.
Oh, her son's name is Lord. Her son's name is Lord.
I
Lord
love that
King.
name.
Yes.
Lord.
His name is Lord Zion King. It's just.
I like that.
Yeah.
Cyclops.
Yeah.
Shout out
we're
to
not
my baby boy.
We're not gonna say that right quite now because it's not easy to deal with.
No,
I had a lot of conversations with my therapist, and it has affected my relationships in a lot of ways, and it has affected my ability to complete things. I procrastinate very, very badly. Yeah, and so.
It's bad.
But procrastination too can be a symptom of anxiety as well.
Yeah,
that's what I'm
mean?
saying. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like it affects
so,
it affects it in that way.
So much stuff bombards you that you get stiff instead of acting or anything.
Right.
Because you're just
Or I just get too cluttered and I can't think.
Or
Yeah.
that.
No, so you never tried to take
OCD is a
medication for it?
Huh?
You never tried to take
Everything
medication?
shuts down.
I didn't. I was offered it, but I am into a lot of holistic therapy. So if you follow me, you guys see I do a lot of energy training. I do a lot of learning my chakras and being able to balance them. I do a lot of meditating, a lot of activities therapy, I'm really into holistic stuff, and mainly because I have lupus. And so I am on a daily medication for the rest of my life, on top of anything else that I may have to take, if I got a migraine, headache, or whatever the case may be. And so being on a mental health medication, there are going to be side effects. And so that's going to not only affect my lupus, but also intertwine with the medication. I'd rather take the therapy, the holistic approach. I am not against
I don't
medication.
believe in it for children.
Right.
Because I've been through it, and it does. Teachers really used to complain like, okay, they'll call my mom if I was active in class, making everybody follow me. But then if I come to school and I took my medicine, they'll say like, what's wrong with Portia? She was real down today. She was emotional.
Yeah.
She just wasn't herself. Like, because I took that medicine.
I can agree with that sometimes too, because it does just take you to a whole nother level. Like they need to come out with something that's a little less. Because it should not be, boom, it should not be that.
Like, that's why I never gave
patients.
They gave me Adderall.
I have anxiety medicine.
For you as an adult.
It's like, not saying that I can't go without it because I don't want to have that mentality, but like as far as like panic modes and shit like that, like I know one time, right, I was moving and I left a whole bag of shoes outside and I was across town.
Oh no.
Bro,
was it there?
We saw the
It was there, but there's so many thoughts running, and I'm an overthinker. Like, I got PTSD and all that, so I'm an overthinker. So it's so many situations that's going through my head. I'm like, yo, did the trash man come? Did somebody see me? I'm like, yo, I pray to God the trash man.
No, for real.
Did I treat my neighbors right? They put them inside for me.
Because there was a man standing right there. I think he was coming out.
Man, they open that bag, they be like, yo, this nigga crazy.
that's how I am.
I'm trying to get through traffic, you feel me? Like, it's so much traffic, it's rush hour.
Yeah.
Then I gotta go from West Philly all the way to North Philly.
Oh, wow.
So that shit is like White Marsh
Right.
to wherever, you feel me? So I'm trying to get through traffic, I can't move.
Take the
Take the E-way to the
No,
train.
no.
So
Put your record in my 5 minute cut you off, but take the parkway. It'll get you there fast.
he also lived in Philly for a while.
Man,
Oh,
that
okay.
shit don't work. They got that blocked off. They got that blocked off.
Wow.
So look, I'm going through traffic and I'm noticing like I'm worried, but I'm not jittery. I'm not
Yeah.
sweating.
That's
I'm like,
amazing.
that medicine is the shit. Because if
No,
I didn't
for real.
have it, I fucked around and left my car and tried to run it.
Not even thinking.
Not even thinking.
That's
Like,
all he gives though.
like it really made me. I'm like, hold up. Like if this was back then, like I would be like
Yeah.
in an uproar right now. Like,
Yeah.
but it was something that just had me a little calmer.
Yeah.
You feel me? And like,
And I'm not against medicine at all. Like, I'm not against it if that's what's working for you. I think that you should continue. I have a lot of clients as well, adults, 30s, 29, all types of ages who take depression medicine and anxiety medicine. And I have to say, like, it's wonderful for them. Like, they work consistently 9 to 5. They can take care of their children better. They can handle dysfunction with their relationship partners better. So I'm not against it. I think whatever works for you when it comes to delivering the best you is what you should do.
Yeah.
and shout out to my therapist too. You know what I mean? For
You better stop playing with me 12.
Mental health matters.
Like the mental health
Especially
is
black
crazy because
mental health.
a lot of people, you know, society, everybody knocks it and
Yeah.
because you crazy or
Yeah.
you crazy, you need somebody to talk. No,
They
but
think it's deep.
people don't understand.
see,
like
but-
people think like I'm not telling my business to no stranger,
Right.
but I feel as though that's the best
Yeah.
person to tell my business. to.
And,
Yes.
and we stay in school
Because they
so
can't
long.
judge me.
Yeah, that I
You
don't.
feel me?
You can go in it with that mindset. Like when they train you to go in it with that mindset.
Right.
You know, that's why I said I don't get like that with my clients. But Time is my family, and I was there on this situation. So a lot of shit that affected her affected me. But
Exactly.
Oh yeah, you definitely can't show no.
right.
All
and
our
so-
life we had. to
Yeah,
fight.
and so as a therapist, it be some heavy situations
Yes.
going on that you're gonna hear and that you're gonna see, and even going to people's homes, you see the depths of poverty, and those things are heartbreaking.
It is.
But I focus more so on like, what can I do to assist a little bit better in this situation? And that's why I want this to be bigger than what it is, because yeah, I work one-on-one, but that's not effective. And when I do work one-on-one, I'm just literally quoting the moment. I'm giving you something to do for the moment on this one-on-one, you know, activity. But it's so many more people that's going through this same exact thing. And so we're not really fixing the problem with one-on-one therapy. Not saying that it's not necessary. One-on-one counseling, all that is necessary. But I'm just saying, as a whole, something has to be done that's bigger, and it goes again into the system. And this is why I teach about the system, and this is why I teach about our history and things like that, because once you start to understand, you can change those things, you can alter those things, and we can maneuver a little bit differently. So that's why I want to do bigger work, because I want to reach bigger people. I want to speak on the level of explaining history and politics and, you know, things like that, so that we can better understand mentally where we are, who we are, and where we're going. Yeah. So
Next topic.
yeah, so yeah, that was verbal, and which leads into emotional, which is, we kind of touched that, right?
Yeah, we kind of touched
That's
on
all
both
the
of
same
them.
thing.
Next, you know, after the words leave the mouths, right, and the feelings leave the heart, the next thing to move on to is the punch impacting you, or the getting the belt, or getting the switch. Shout out to my grandmother. I love you to death, but you was dead wrong. Back in the 2000, we were the only kids up Emerson Avenue getting the switches off the tree. Okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
my great grandmother did the same
Real
thing.
bad.
Right, so physical.
She brought the
abuse.
South Carolina to the hood, okay? Who
Okay.
else was getting beat with switches?
Yeah, and she learned that.
Yeah.
And made us go pick them off the tree.
We gotta beat the shoes.
Being as though,
And we gotta do with anything.
I got my ass whipped too.
Yeah.
But I was bad.
Like I got my
That
ass
was
whipped
bad.
too. Like I was, like I said, I was the only one. Like I grew up by myself, even though I had my brother and sister. They was with my mother's side.
Right.
But And luckily I didn't get that motherfucking switch, shorty.
Probably had the better end of the deal on that one.
Whip y'all ass.
Then I used to get beat. If she got in trouble, then I used to get my
I
ass.
just walk around the corner like, shit, I'm gone.
Right, I used to be like, gosh,
You know get what?
Right, that
But
part.
nah, that belt though,
Right.
man, that belt was something serious. My grandmother, she used to whip me, but she was like more kind of like give me that love. But she would call, if she ain't want to beat me, she called my uncle.
Mm-hmm.
My uncle ain't play with me, man. Like,
And that's the
if I was
worst.
locked up.
Yeah.
Because I'm not your
No.
child. You're not going to have no type of remorse. You're not going to.
And then
I'm
it's
not yours, so
That's
you
amazing.
just.
scary.
You were
How
a
you
young
beat
boy.
Man, I remember this one time, right?
Okay.
Perfect example. I remember this one
Call me
time.
from beat.
My uncle was in the army, so he was always away, but he had 2 kids. My son,
Right.
his son and my little cousin. So he used to come in town periodically. So me and my cousin, we all on the phone. We calling people, fuck you, da 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 da. We on their phones, leaving messages and shit. So the lady called back. My grandmother answered the phone. She's like, what y'all do? She said, I'ma call Kenny. I'm like, oh my God. I'll be damned. She called him. We see that white car pull up. We like, Grandma, can we have fix shit so we go to the store? She's like, huh? We come back. He like, now what y'all do? Take my cousin down the store. Whoop him. I'm talking about whoop him. So I'm like, Grandma, what am I say? She like, tell him the devil made you do it. I'm like, thank you. I'll be damned if I did. Like, why you do that? I'm like, the devil made me do it. Ain't no damn devil made me do it. Man, I used to get my ass whooped.
Now, it is
yo.
not funny. It's really.
I was
we
just
can
about
laugh
to-
at it right now
Like, but that shit,
because the
like,
way he's explaining it.
I was just about to say that. Shout out to my brother because
Yo.
he is somebody that is ridiculously funny, and a
Yeah.
lot of people know him not only just for his music, but for him being ridiculously funny. But I don't know if it's because Tynan, I got very emotional already and kind of got the frequencies on high in here. But just hearing him say that story, you know, because we did not grow up in the same house, but that is my Irish twin. Like, we are just 11 months apart, so we always had that real close bond no matter what. Like, we used to be like Celie and the girl off of the, get Ryan, come around the house, please, you know. But to hear him say that story is just like me as an empath. I just immediately got into the moment and my heart just went out to him because I can only imagine how many times he probably felt a way of, I can't imagine somebody outside of my mom or my dad just coming over my house just to whip my ass.
Yeah.
Like, you get what I'm trying to say? Like, and then you are the only person over there. Mind you, my mom had 6 children. So he's away from, he's 1 out of 5 and he's not even around his clan and you know, growing up in a different place. I'm just, I can only imagine how that made him feel. You know what I mean? Like, so deserted, so just like, just I can't even articulate it because I'm just right there in the basement with you thinking about the devil made you do it, and I'm just like, damn, like, we really normalized some really traumatic things. Like, I would never do that to my son. You get what I'm trying to say? And when it comes down to disciplining Lord, I'm damn sure not about to have his uncle come, who he hardly ever sees on a daily basis, to whip his ass. And you know, I just can't imagine how that would feel. You know, excuse my language, but y'all know this is a black show.
You fine.
But yeah, I just shout out to him because he always turns his pain into comedy. And if you know anything about comedy and comics, they're the most brokenhearted people walking this earth. Because
I learned that. I'm close to somebody who's actually comedy. My grandma's a comedian.
Shout out to Robin Williams.
But it's great that you were able to deliver it in that way, and I think you should continue to deliver it in that way. Not just here, but wherever you can go.
Stand up comedy.
Yeah, I think that it's amazing. Even if you start off doing it at, like, you know how I work for a PRP agency, and basically we have groups sometimes for children, and sometimes they'll do an all-boy group for children, and you were able to volunteer, come down there like, you know, I got a story, I want to talk to these people about physical abuse and stuff like that.
Sure.
That's an amazing thing to do, and somewhere to start. Because I started like that too, like going down the juvenile justice system, Roberta's house, just volunteering and getting my feet wet with other people's experiences and emotions and stuff. Because I feel like a lot of people are natural healers.
Yeah.
And so with you being able to deliver it like that, that's a natural healer skill.
Yeah, it is.
Okay? And so
laughter is medicine.
Yeah. So with physical abuse, thank you for the delivery. It is something that is extremely, extremely devastating. I am so sensitive on physical abuse when it comes to children. Please don't be a client of mine and have no type of mark, bruise, scratch, nothing and tell me that it came from your parent. It's a very tough decision because I gotta tell. So and it's a tough thing because I deal with a lot of other stuff as well, being in this field, neglect, all kinds of things, and you have to like determine what you're gonna take to CPS or what is what you, and it's tricky. It gets tricky. You gotta factor in the age, factor in the parent, factor in the situation, because the system isn't always where you want the child to be either. So it's not easy. But I just want to say, physical abuse, you turn out to be angry.
Yes.
You turn out to not trust people or anyone. You're flinchy all the time. It creates an anxiety. It creates all these different things within a person as an adult. So if you can, as an adult, refrain from physical abuse or even physical discipline as much as possible. Because I know, what we have learned. I know that sometimes some kids need a little, some. I don't beat my child because I have learned how to discipline her. But again, it's about your child. So learn your child, learn how to talk to them, learn how to discipline them. Physical abuse is just not it for me.
Yeah.
Not even verbal abuse to a child. I'm sensitive about the kids in general.
Yeah.
I had a neighbor one time, and she used to cuss her kids out so bad, and it used to get under my skin. Again, I grew up in a lot of dysfunction. It used to get under my skin so bad. But this is my neighbor. I can't really say nothing. And one day I just happened to like pull up from work, and she pulled up at the same time. She got out her car. She was like, "Stay in the car." The little girl gets out the car. I'm in my car like, "Stay in the damn car."
It was like you was watching a scary movie.
No. Yeah, she just told you to stay in the damn car. Like, stay in the car. As soon as she came outside, "Get the fuck out! Tell your mother, bitch!" And I said, "Why are you talking to her like that?" Like, I snapped. Like, why are you yelling at her? She's a child. And it's like, you can't say that to somebody when they date other parents. Because this is a whole fight. You better be ready to put your boxing gloves on.
And I usually do be ready to box.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. If I pull you up, I got the knuck in my butt. Knuck if you buck playing in my head at the time.
You have to be ready to box because it escalated to so much more than what it was because I couldn't take saying that. But kids, they don't ask to be here, and they are learning how to be here.
Yes.
They ain't been here before. So the decisions that they make and the bad things that they do, you have to teach them. You have to show them. You have to guide them through these things. Like, you can't just expect them to just know. Like, you just know. No, you taught them how to walk. You taught them how to use the potty. You taught them how to talk. You taught them everything. So you have to teach them how to manage their anger. You have to teach them right from wrong. You have to teach them what they can touch and what they can't touch. You have to teach them how to obey and listen and be obedient and carry themselves in public and all kinds. It's hard. So don't have no damn kids if you ain't ready.
And especially, I was going to say, education is so huge because we have to educate ourselves about the child brain, the development process of a child, what they adhere to, what they don't, because I see a lot of people talking to their children as if they're their peers. And not only that, a lot they lack the same things that they're trying to get their children to embody. Like, you don't have discipline. You can't stand accountability. You have tantrums. Go on Facebook, you see millions of adults having tantrums, but you mad because the 3-year-old is having a tantrum right now.
So
like, we have to
is a reflection
of you.
Exactly. That's why I take a step back when it comes to my son, because I be like, well, he's just doing. He's me.
Yeah.
One more time for the one time. What you say, Amy?
Your children are reflections of you.
A direct reflection. Everybody that have met. Well, my child got ADHD. Well, how are you? When you go in there, they running around. They got a lot going on, and they got.
And I move. Everything he be doing.
And so that is a true, factual statement.
And that's why they say that children are here to teach us. They're here to teach us about what we don't recognize and are not aware within ourselves. They're just coming in a more pure form. So it's like, you black and you white and blah, 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 blah. And I'm not talking about skin color, but I'm just, referencing. But then you realize, damn, I'm black and I'm white and blah, 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 blah. Over here for me too. You know what I'm saying? But the children are our mirrors. They mirror it off in a more
and
primary.
they be knowing stuff that we don't know.
Even when your family be like, boy, that was you when you were little.
And you be like, no, not me. I asked, just real quick, I had asked, I asked my family, how was I when I was little? My aunt was like, bad as hell. And I was like, I do not remember being bad. I was more so the one in the cut, real like shy and, not saying too much. I was real, But what she was trying to say, because this is another thing, the older generation will mishandle words and they'll have me thinking you bad and this and that. But it's another word, and the word was I was very inquisitive. I had a lot of questions.
I was very
I wanted to know. Yes, that's right. I wanted to know things. You know, I wanted to. I was the child that they kept telling me get out of grown folks' business.
Yeah,
okay, I'll take this party upstairs to the bathroom vent where I can still hear who got killed on the top.
She be on the top of the steps.
And then you get out there later like, so what are you talking about? You with that guy?
You go downstairs.
Well, mommy, grandma said you didn't pay the rent.
Yeah.
Because you went over Cheryl's house and y'all got drunk.
That part.
And what about that man that came on? Remember he had that black shirt on that day?
But while we did
It was Wednesday though.
We did used to listen through the vent. We go in the bathroom like, my toys is a playground. Other kids outside, they playing catch my catch all. It's about 30 kids outside. We upstairs like, who got
we had shit to listen to. We was on our own, just take care of ourselves. We was there.
I see y'all next weekend.
No, we was there in the people in the neighborhood to lick the dirty bits.
What?
Truth or dare, truth or dare.
Mixing mud.
Truth or dare.
Mixing mud and glass and shit.
Trick test.
Oh my God.
We ain't had no purse around. Like,
that is something.
We was our own
and it's crazy because I say all that because when I watch my son, he's like on to the next one. Like he learns so quickly, and then he's right on to the next thing. And then when he learns over here, he's trying to make it.
He wants to
bridge
it
over here. Yes.
I was thinking about
cleaning
up the other day. I was cleaning up and I was taking out the papers over here and putting them back. And I was just thinking like, Luca took these out like he was about to read them or something.
Yeah,
like,
that's what he does.
What is this shit here?
Then they put it up.
And he was over there and over here. Yeah, like Lord, you can't read.
Yeah,
that's why Cassius is. And now he comes to me and like, Mom, did you know that male cats are left-handed and women cats are right-handed? I'm like,
that's the type of stuff
I was today years old.
Yeah,
I found that out.
like that's how I
No, I know. I'm saying I'm today.
But he be saying some stuff. I be looking like, wow, he always exploring it.
Yes, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Don't laugh, okay? Do not laugh.
Don't look at me then.
Don't laugh for real. I was just like, I thought I was about to break the glass. I was saying something to my daughter, and she's like, it's just melted sand. I was like, glass is made of sand? I never knew that.
No,
so I was yesterday years old when I found that out.
Right.
Like I have to be.
He be teaching me some stuff. I be like, no, I never
but you
knew
know,
that.
kids they onto that internet. Now,
right.
So you know, sometimes. Only time we on the internet is Instagram, Facebook, when we promote it or trying to inspire you through it. But
and what's that?
I am one of the type ones that like to look at YouTube at different shows.
What's that science guy name?
Bill Nye?
Yeah, he watched it a lot. Like,
wow,
I didn't know
that still was on.
Because it's interesting.
Yes, he's
and that's what I was saying. Kids with ADHD, all of my children with ADHD are very intelligent. Like, that's one thing that I have noticed.
Attention.
Yeah, they can.
And he keeps telling me
they utilize their brain in multiple levels.
Yeah.
And then he keeps telling me he wants to go. He wants to go to China.
Oh wow.
Like he says this all the time. He wants to go to China. He wants to go
to
China.
Words are very powerful.
Children manifest more because they have pure heart. They don't have any resistance against what they want to get. They don't know. They don't know any resistance.
So whatever it is that you want, you have the ability to do.
Love you, Trey.
You have the ability to do. Don't just keep the bad thoughts, the uncertain thoughts out. When they start to come in to your mind, you gotta check them at the door because it's energy. It's energy in all of it.
And I always say, thanks thoughts. Like I'll have thought, like my self-talk be real sometimes. It'll make up a whole situation that was never even happening. Nobody else is thinking about that. What are you even? Why did this situation just boil over into a scary movie, a thriller, and all this? Why did somebody have to get killed in your thoughts? Like right? And then it's just like. I learned something. Shout out Mickey A. Smith.
They got killed.
I learned something. Thank you, thoughts. I appreciate y'all. Y'all served y'all purpose. I'm done with y'all, though. I'm going to choose something else. And
absolutely.
It'll literally subside, and then I'll start creating something even better. You know, because I already thought the worst crazy shit. Now I can make, well, how would you actually like that to go? And I practice that, and it really works for me.
Awesome. I was just saying, like, a lot of times we as humans, we have the tendency to like really put our energy into the problem. Like you say, create all these, this is the problem, now we think about this, and now it's a rabbit hole. You get what I'm saying? Like, but if we put our problem into the solution, like we're better off, because ain't nobody else got the power to fix my shit except for me. You feel me? Like when we put our expectation on other people, or we on somebody else's time, or you know what I mean? Like, but we had the tools to change
Solutions
our
is amazing to me. I always want solutions. Like if anybody has ever been my friend from like day one, they be like, you always the friend. You can't just listen. You always want to come up with an answer. I even had a guy tell me that before. Like who made? I think it was Moneybag Yo when he was talking about all his girls. And one of the girls, he was like, she always give me advice. He said, that's you. I can't never just hear your pain.
Yeah.
I can't never just hear your story.
We're not about to sit here and make
okay,
it
so
even better.
maybe you
worse.
can, or I always want to come up with
Right.
solutions. So even today, right, sitting here, I just want everybody, even explaining your situation. One of the things that we said would be the last thing that we hit on was, what are the ways you cope with it today? What are your solutions? How can another person help? How can you help another person? How can another person heal from that? So solutions.
And listen to the word
Right.
solutions. All your solutions are already inside.
They're already here.
They already
And that's
inside.
crazy, 'cause,
Yeah,
like,
all the tools.
you know how sometimes like you might think it's deja vu, like I knew this was gonna happen.
Yeah.
And you did know it was gonna happen.
Right.
Because you knew if you would have did this, you would end up here. If I don't
choice
do this,
there.
I'm gonna end up there. So we know already. We
Absolutely.
Just fear just breeds into action.
Universal law.
Yeah.
It's choices that we
Fear
make.
really breeds in action. The more we think about it, the more we're not gonna do.
Absolutely.
Whatever you
telling
get your
yourself
attention
all
to.
this stuff. You gonna
And then
start
sometimes
believing.
it don't even happen. Like,
Exactly.
you ever been like scared about a bill or something like that crazy? Like, okay, I'm gonna use BG&E because BG&E will
BG&E will linger.
You know, like my shit gonna be cut off today. But if you keep thinking about it, like, if you really this work, y'all ain't lying. You keep thinking about it, like, no, it ain't gonna get cut off. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
But it'll happen in a way. It'll happen
Because
in a
you try to
way.
make it like it ain't gonna get caught off, but you
I'm gonna
really
as
think
long
about
as
like
you
it.
plan it, like I'm gonna put somebody on there next week, so I'm gonna be good because I know for sure it's gonna be on here by this
I'm
time.
gonna put this $20 on. I know it's $465.
Y'all mess around with your lights on, trying to manifest.
Can I say this though real quick?
But it worked for me. When I'm ready to pay it, it be paid when I'm ready to pay it. Okay? So not all the time when it's due is what I'm saying. But I don't know, it might not work for you. I need to explain that better. It might not work for y'all. Y'all might not be channeling that energy like that right there. It's your energy.
The universe is real funny though, because you'll think something up and it'll happen in a way, in a shape or a way or a form, right?
Absolutely.
Like you think about your lights go off, but a storm hit today and they go off for a second, and you're like, oh my god,
You be calling BG&E like, hold on.
right? And it be like, it's not.
It's a short network area.
Yes. And it's a test for you though to stop thinking so negatively because
Right.
because you put so much
to pay your bill.
And then it's like, all right, let me go ahead and pay that $400.
you put so much momentum behind that.
Let me go ahead and make one payment at least. I do have the 200 at least. Look, you I was trying to hold on to it just in case.
You calling around and ain't nothing really wrong with your shit. You didn't put money on shit.
Oh.
You even had
You
You on the phone like, oh, let's do one next week.
Yeah, so we gotta watch the momentum that we put behind the thoughts, because if you get enough momentum behind the thought, baby, you will make it happen.
Exactly.
So that's why cutting out in front of your stinking thinking when you're having it stops the momentum. So then you stop things from actually coming into your experience. So that's great advice that you know, get out in front ahead of your thinking. Like, stop yourself before you check yourself before you wreck yourself.
We'll talk about that. That's the last step.
And
Yeah.
also know that we ain't got time to be thinking negative. Shit's
No.
still moving.
Yeah.
No.
Regardless if we move with
Right.
it, the world is still
Still
moving.
moving.
That's why some people who didn't make it here today, I wanted them to truly be here today, because sitting in that depression, I've been there before, nothing moves.
Nothing moving.
Nothing moves. Now you may be able to watch and learn some things, but nothing moves for you.
Yeah, nothing
And
stimulates.
so these are breakthroughs. All it takes is that one step.
Yeah.
That one step to break through. That's all it takes.
That's
You
so
have
true.
to do it.
That's
You
so
have
true.
to love yourself enough, love your life enough, love where you are going enough to take that one step. And that could be just opening up and talking to anybody of your support
Yeah.
and releasing.
Before we hop into the next topic, addictions, I think that it'd be real proper right now if we do a moment of silence, not for the people that are not here, but for the people that are suffering through depression and anxiety right now. Like, we having fun on this show right now, but somewhere, somebody, people that we even know, are really having a very, very, very hard time for seeing this day as a day that the Lord has made and to rejoice in it. So let's just take a moment of silence right now for anybody that is going through this depression and anxiety.
just know that you're not alone.
Yeah.
And not even that you're not alone. That it's very common. It's not that you're not alone, and you know it's a handful of people out here that might be going through it. You're not alone in that. It's probably 10 out of 15 people going through it. That's how common it is.
That part.
People can walk around and get up and go to work on a regular basis. I said this in I think episode 2. You can get up every single day and you can go to work and you can do what it is that you were supposed to do and be stuck in your way of contentment with your daily living and still be in depression mode. So you're not even, you're just like, I just went to work today, but you're not even mindful of what was in front of you at work today. You're not even mindful of how you felt at work today. You're not even mindful about who you saw, or what you ate, or you were just there and you just showed up and no one noticed. That's a form of depression. So be there and be alert and be a part of it. Be a part of the universe because you are a part of the universe. You are. You matter. Your energy matters.
Yes.
But okay, so we're gonna get into addictions, guys, and I think everybody can touch a little bit on a little bit of addictions. I don't know because even now today in 2021, as Black people, we still have a lot of different things that we utilize to cope with, and it causes addictions. So it's still common. It's still very, very common. Who wants to speak on addictions? Hemi.
Before you started, Hemi, to piggyback off what you were saying, Aya, I just want to help everybody also to understand that addiction is not the problem. It is a symptom of a deeper problem that's happening.
It's a coping mechanism.
Yes, it is a coping mechanism, and these depression, anxiety, all those different things are things that breeds and gives fuel to addiction.
And wait, right before you get into your story, I did want to bring Zoe. Did you have anything to come up before we get into Hemi, or do you want to come back around to the audience and talk to you?
Yeah, you can come back.
All right, because I feel like we just skipping out on audience. Anybody have any questions? Any concerns? No. Everybody's good. Nobody wants to jump in. Comments? Nothing right now. Okay, cool. All right.
I can chime in.
I called somebody Carrie Hilson, y'all. She looked just like Carrie Hilson. That's why when you were saying pretty girls, I was like, Pretty Girl Rock, you want to do a performance tonight?
But okay, so Hemi, your story is significant when it comes to addictions because it is not only personable for your background but to yourself. So thank you so much for coming on here and being able to even open up. I'm so proud of you. Every time I see you, post something or just see you, I see you walking down the street one time, I was like, like, you ain't hear me, but just very proud and just grateful that we have another Black man in our community able to stand up, talk to people, elevate other people, help teach other people, and help heal other people. So get into your story, brother.
When it started, my parents were addicts. So when I was born, I was basically born with it, in me as well. But it wasn't until I was always like one of my clique from high school. A lot of my homeboys, they graduated after me or whatever. But they were doing it as far as popping Percocets, and it just came a time where I'm like, man, let me try it. You feel what I'm saying? And woke up a beast. Never thought I would be the person that I became. Created a character of myself that I never see myself. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was a tough roller coaster, up and down, up and down, up and down. But it got to the point where I was really fed up with being in my own way. You get what I'm saying? Like I said, I created a character of myself, the way people greet me, the chastising and everything that come around, everything that comes with it. Being talked about, shying away from the family. Family don't really want too much to deal with you.
And this was while you were going through.
Yeah, for sure. So it just came to a point where it's like, man, I'm tired. I know God got better for me. You feel me? I thank Him for putting me through this. You get what I'm saying? Because I wouldn't be where I'm at today and who I am today. So I'm wholeheartedly grateful for that journey. But yeah, it definitely was tough. But on the flip side, I was tired. just ready to get out of my own way. And it's something that I always tell people, like, it's a difference between somebody who's stuck and don't know where they're going compared to somebody who's stuck and know better.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
And
I was
so
stuck,
that's where
but I
you were.
knew better. You get what I'm saying? So it was hard. I just had to get out of that gray space. It's hard.
You had to start applying those
right.
lessons.
And having life challenges as is with a habit on top of that. It's like
right.
you dig that rabbit hole deeper and deeper and deeper. You feel me? It's like once I get off of this, I still got to deal with life.
Yeah.
I still got to cope with life. So
and how do I cope with life without what I was coping with life with?
Exactly. So I've learned how to cope with life without going back to anything. You get what I'm saying? Like going back to what I was doing, because it was like, I got you. You feel me? I got people looking up to me. I got my brothers and sisters. I got my nieces and nephews. I got people who expecting more out of me than I expect for myself. But I expect more out of myself. You get what I'm saying? Like more than them. So yeah, the journey was tough. You feel me? But I'm glad I went and got help. I was fed up. I went and got help. I moved to Philly, went to like a little recovery program.
Right.
And that was the best decision I made in my life, yo.
Awesome.
Like,
so I want to say like because you say like it took you to a place where it was hard. It was hard to get out.
Dark place.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, where were you emotionally? Like, where was your mind? Where were your thoughts? Like, what was going on emotionally when you were using and when you were abusing, or even, coming out of it?
It was of course it always stemmed from the loss of my parents, like all my
childhood
pain.
trauma.
Yeah, all my pain. You feel me? Identity crisis when I was younger. My mother's side, my father's side, always wanted me to live a certain way. I didn't want to go to school and shit. You feel me? So it was another thing with me living how I want to live, but without disappointing them. You feel me? So it's like I knew better, but how can I explain it? I want to live a certain way, but they want me to live a certain way, so I was stagnant. Because I know if I make a certain move, they're not going to feel it, or I don't feel like their support is 100%.
Like what Time was saying.
So it
kind
of hinders you from living the way that you want to live.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Exactly. So that was another thing. Wanting this music so bad, but it's like I'm my own worst critic, and believing in myself and confidence and all those type of things. Depression, like I was in a deep depression, like, and not even noticing. Sometimes you're in depression, you don't even notice that shit. Like it comes so fast, and like I say, I keep saying that gray area. The vision not clear, it's just so gray. You don't know where to turn to. You know what I'm saying? But just a lot of childhood trauma actually. Like it stems from that, and yeah, man, like that's why y'all was just talking earlier about supporting your kids. Like it's a must that you support your kids. Like I went from living with my mother and father, now living with my grandmother. She died, moved with my aunt. And my aunt was a church going woman. Right, went to church every Sunday. But when it came to me, like wanting to play basketball, wanting to play sports, she didn't support that. On the flip side, her son running track.
That's weird.
She driving 45 minutes to a boring ass track meet. You know what I'm saying? Like
she used to run track.
My bad. When it came going to my basketball games, she didn't even want to take me. That shit was 10 minutes. Like she didn't even want to take me to my practices, my basketball games, none of that. So it's like
that creates inside of
feeling
you
not wanted, or
unworthy.
Y'all only taking care of me because y'all feel bad to my parents.
Right, and scared to ask.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, okay, so I'm not capable of asking this question, but somebody else is. And that, how does that make a child feel? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you just putting them down. I was speaking on this, who was I talking to earlier? I was talking to somebody earlier, but basically I was trying to let them know that when it comes to raising, your children, what you speaking to them is what they become. And so I tried to tell this person this when they were young, when their child was young, their son was younger. I tried to tell them this because I witnessed the way they were speaking to him, and it was like, you just dumb. Why would you do that? That was just stupid. You just dumb. Wow, you just dumb. Like, don't eat that. You always doing something wrong. You always take all the food where everybody, just all the time. This is constantly how the mother and father is speaking to them now. Great household, mother and father, get what you want, shoes, everything. But you're constantly in your ear hearing this. And so now you grow up and you're of age now. You're about 15, 16 years old. And you're smoking weed. You aren't completing your task in school because you don't feel worthy. People told you you were dumb all your life.
You feel like, what's the point?
So
of
why
doing
am
anything?
but when you're telling your child any little thing that they do and you're praising them, this is what we were talking about Erikson theory. When you're praising them, like, oh my goodness, that was a good job. You did great when you did that. Or even if they don't do good, whatever you did, it's okay if you didn't do good. You can go back and you can try this again and you can try to do better. Like, it's fine to mess up. Or when you teach them that way, or you talk to them that way, and you embed things in them that way, they come out differently when they grow up. But if you telling me all my life I'm dumb and I don't know nothing in this world because everything that I learned is from you, then that's what I'm gonna know, and then that's what I am going to think.
And I think it's harder too when you're dealing with a child that's not yours.
Yeah.
So when you put in a situation, and then kids look at that like, if I'm in a situation where I'm put in a household with my cousins or anybody, it's like, that's how I feel. Like, I feel like you took me in because it's like you took me in because I don't have my mother and my father. Mm-hmm. But you treat your kids a little different. But like him, he wanted to play basketball and stuff like that. But you rather keep going to your son track meet. Like, all right, son, I went to yours this week. I know it's on the same day, but let me go do his this week because
And some people just don't need to take kids in or don't need to marry into families. If you indeed cannot go into a family and participate as a guardian for this family and participate as if this is your own child, then that is not the position for you. Because again, we have to protect our children. We cannot damage our children. So who is in our children's life is very detrimental to who they become, even down to step parents. So be very mindful that this person is serving your child how you need them to serve your child, if it is someone different. And if you are in a situation where you have to help place someone in a good home or something that resonates with who they are because they don't have their biological parents, again, be very mindful of what works for the child. Right.
Like all my life I felt like I'm gotta walk on eggshells.
Yeah.
When my aunt came in, I'm in a house tired from school. School tires you the fuck out.
Yes, it does.
You feel me? Like real early. Yeah, real early. You gotta get up early, all that shit. You feel me? So when you come home, sometimes you want to go to sleep before you take.
Even if you ain't do nothing all day.
Exactly. If I was asleep and I heard that door key, I'd hop up.
Yeah.
You feel me? Just because you're not going to no sleep, do these dishes.
Anxiety.
Or do this.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You feel me?
And then also they had things that they have to deal with as well. That's why I say they have to be fully ready to accept the child. So in the back of their mind, I'm doing this because I have to.
Right.
I'm not doing this because I want to.
Right.
So that makes the delivery different.
And you better be grateful for anything I give you, but no matter if
I'm
it's
doing it
some
because I
slop
have
shit,
to.
no matter what it is.
Because I don't have to do it.
I just think
Listen
it's
to somebody else.
And we heard that a lot growing up. I ain't gotta be doing this shit, so you always
And
you
that's
just
not
like
right. That's not
you know
right.
what I mean? You like
Then you don't need to be doing
And that's how I felt about my grandma. That's what she used to do. You took me and my brother in because you didn't want us to have separate households. Even though he was living with my mother at the time, and I was living with her. But it's like, oh, I don't want y'all to go into foster care and be separated. But I'm gonna take y'all. Oh, I don't have to do this shit for y'all. Y'all here because your mother wasn't like we don't want to hear that.
Yeah. I think we're gonna skip that one. So so wrapping up with addictions, I just want to say with you today. Some of the coping mechanisms and some of the things you have utilized to overcome addictions was one he mentioned was looking at yourself and knowing the difference between being stuck and confused and being stuck and knowing better. And so once you know that you are stuck and you know better, you have to take the first step to apply that to your life. And the first step might not be significant, but it's a step, so take it. And then the next thing, what else you said you went to Philly?
I went to Philly.
Shout out to Philly because they always taking anybody.
I went to Philly, went to a
they got the best
program.
treatment centers.
Yeah, for real. Shout out to Stop and Surrender.
Stop and Surrender.
That's the program I went to. But I honestly, I used to be weak-minded. They didn't know. I used to be like, man, I can stop. I don't need no treatment for people who weak-minded. The whole time I'm the weak-minded one.
Looking into yourself, looking deep into yourself and facing yourself like, damn, am I weak?
Right. So like, what I do to cope now is, for one, remember where I came from.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
And that shit can be worse.
Right.
And the third biggest thing, motherfuckers is dying out here, yo. Like I seen four 4 or 5 people die that I was in them households with and them programs with, and go out there and just straight die. Like I'm talking about straight die. Like go pop whatever, do whatever they do and die. So there's too much fake stuff out here. Like
you gotta love
by the grace
yourself
of God, I'm glad.
Cause look at these young ones.
So thankful I ain't indulging in that shit no more. Like,
and you gotta
life did a total. I ain't gonna say a 360. The 360 is certain. But life did a total 180. Like
and then the 360 is coming. And
Shout
so
out to
it's really
Banks.
about. It's always about every last person should always find that true king or queen within you, because that's how you begin to love yourself. If you're looking and pointing out your flaws all the time, you're gonna have an issue.
Nothing good about yourself.
Right, but you gotta learn to love your flaws too. That's a whole nother topic. But we are running on time, so I do want to get into what is the last topic, which was about sexual abuse. So I did have Miss Portia that want to talk about sexual abuse. I think we had neglect as well, but we are running a little short on time. But if anybody wants to jump in, raise their hand, say anything on neglect, we can. But let's get into the sexual abuse topic so we can start rolling on with the film. I know this is so deep, guys, and we can go on forever. But Miss Portia, I want to thank you, one, because this is one of the traumas that people are embarrassed to tell about. This is one of the traumas that other people don't support because they feel as though it's not true, or they don't want to see the person for who they truly are or what they truly was at that moment. And so this puts a lot of women in positions to bury the pain and not to be able to express what it is that they have been through. And with that, they have a lot of different outcomes in their adulthood, and I can touch on that, but this is for you and this is your time. Not only is it for you to help others, but it's for you to help yourself. So how do you want to introduce yourself?
You brought me in good. Okay. So my experience that I had with molestation as a child was I was molested by my mother's baby father's brother. So yeah, it wasn't my direct family, it was who she was dealing with family. And what I feel as though the problem is nowadays, well, what was the problem back then was because it was supposed to be family, it was swept under the rug and not dealt with like how I now would deal with it if it was my child. And yeah, it just messed with me a lot now as an adult, because by not being handled by the adults around me, everyone did what was good for them, but not what was good for me at the time. And they knew what was going on. They knew what happened, because it was like at that time, like I said, I was a child. I was bad. I used to go through behavioral therapy and stuff like that. So I was real comfortable with my therapist. And this went on for like 2 years. But it's like to a certain point, I just started to feel like this not right. Like,
so did it go on 2 years with just you knowing, or 2 years with everybody in the household knowing?
No. I'm saying as far as me, like, it going on, because like we were raised around each other. He's probably like, I don't know, he's in his early 30s. I don't know exactly, but I'm in my late 20s, so he's a few years older than me.
Okay.
But like we were raised around each other because my mother was just starting to date his brother. So it started as a thing of manipulation, like, oh, we're gonna play this game, and if you lose the game, you're gonna put your hand in my lap. Or it progressed to, we're gonna do this and you're gonna put my penis in your mouth and stuff like that. So like it just progressed over the time, and then I'm starting to be like, this not no game, this not normal. Because anytime you hear somebody coming, or it's like you real fidgety and jumping, I'm like, it's not right, and it's starting not to feel right. And the time that he was really about to get very close to, about to penetrate me, that I went to therapy that next week, and I told, because I was like, it's not right, and I know it's not right. And I told, and it still wasn't like taken care of how it needed to, because it was supposed to be family, but it just wasn't taken care of.
I want to ask you this, because when we watch these situations or these stories, people say they come to people in a lot of families, sometimes don't believe them in their culture, and I'm going to touch on that as well. But how did you approach telling them? How did you deliver it as a child? How do you deliver that as a child? How do you?
I I was uncomfortable, I guess, with telling my mom. I didn't know why. I don't know what the reason was. I was pretty close. I'm pretty close to my mother, so I don't know why I was so uncomfortable with telling her as a kid, but I was more comfortable to tell the therapist first. And once I told her, she brought my mother in the room and made me tell her what I just said. Okay. And I told her what I just said. Okay. So they knew it was a serious situation. So that it's just a lot to it, but it's like, my mom was mad because I got the system involved before getting her involved. Wow. So she wanted to try to have an opportunity to handle it within herself, which is though she still didn't. And to this day, I can say my mother has spoken up for herself and apologized for the wrongdoing that she did, but it still won't take away from how her and every other adult in that situation played the situation out. But I just opened up and told the lady because it just wasn't right. Like, I knew it wasn't right. It was brought to me as a game. So I was starting to think, okay, maybe it is a game. Like, this was the first time I was having any type of interaction with a male or...
And how old were you at the time?
Between the ages of like 10 and 11. Right. So by the time 12 and 13 came up, I was interested in sex. Like, trying to figure out, well, what? All right, so if that was that, how much further can it go then? Like, it sparked the fire in my head.
Right. The hormones and also the curiosity.
Yeah.
And so it's just like it's a battle because it's like what's right and what's wrong, because naturally sex is not wrong. And so, but it's something that is supposed to be for adults, number one.
Right, that's what made me see that whatever was going on was wrong, because he was on point. I wouldn't be on point what was going on. Somebody could have walked down there and caught me just getting done whatever to me because I didn't know no better, but he was always on point. If you hear somebody coming, I'm like, no, this not right. Like, why are you so scared or fidgety if we about to get caught doing whatever we doing? This is not okay.
Manipulation.
Yes, and that's what ruined me all the way down the line. Not ruined me, but like it messed up my mental with me thinking that, everybody's trying to manipulate me, or I don't trust nobody because you trying to play with me, or I gotta be 10 steps ahead of you because you trying to manipulate me into something. Yeah. So it just took its own
path. It created a defense mechanism for you, and so that plays out in your relationship with you coming off aggressive, with you coming off
Yeah, pretty much. But my best advice for it would be, whether it's a family member or not, your child still needs to feel that, I don't care if it's their father, they're protected. So in my eyes, I never gave my mother no grief of it. Like, I never gave her no grief to say, oh, as I got older and I started to see, because I'm telling y'all, like, we was still around each other on holidays, birthdays, shit like that.
So after you told the therapist and your mother, did it stop or?
It stopped it stopped because they started to put a wedge in between us. We wasn't staying the night or around each other like that, but he was still around. Like, it still was the father of her child's brother, so he was still around.
And so this person, because he was still around, you had a conversation with him before as an adult, or?
I've tried to reach out to him, because what brought it to the surface, because I honestly tried to bury it from a child to an adult. I tried to bury it, but a recent situation had brought it up with something that his brother said to me, which is the guy my mother did. He brought it up in a certain way, and it brought the whole situation to a head. It triggered me. It was basically, without having to get into too many details of it, of him and a disagreement that my mom was having, and I was saying to him, like, however you making my mom feel, you treating her, whatever the case, you can't possibly love and respect me and my brothers, and this is how you doing. And that was his bright idea. I think that this was just something he wanted to say over the years, and it was just the wrong time and found to say it. But it was like, how could I treat you any differently once you said that about my brother? And that just triggered everything in me. Like
I didn't say anything.
It happened. No,
what happened?
Right. It happened to me.
And that's painful. That could be a trigger, because at that point, what you're saying is that you're not accepting what I'm saying. Still.
But I honestly couldn't get mad at him, because I had to look back at my mother, because it was her fault for not handling it as the big deal that it was supposed to be. Right. So everyone basically just went off of her energy of what the situation was.
Whatever you tolerate, you're showing people how to treat you.
Yes, so that's basically what it fell down into. And that's why, like I said, she'll see this, but we've had this conversation. Like, I've had to go to therapy from a kid to an adult. I've had to have the conversation with her, like, why did you do it? Why would you think that was a good idea? Then how you went about it?
Closure for you with your mom or peace
with my mom? Peace with my mom, yes, because she's acknowledged her wrongdoing and she's apologized to me about what it did to me and stuff like that. But as far as like now, I wanted to have a conversation because like how his brother brought it up, it was just a thing of like, I don't like how you trying to put that out.
Because
like I'm lying.
Like I'm lying.
Like
I'm lying. And the whole thing was when it happened, if this is gonna get blamed on my family member, period, I'm gonna sit all of us down at the table,
right,
or we're gonna get back. That's never happened.
Mm-hmm.
Never happened.
That's a way that you can, guys. If this comes to you, if a child comes to you, if anybody comes to you and they're telling you that this is what's going on, please take heed. Now there is a thing about children making up lies about different things because that's what children do. But when they come to you with these problems, take heed and take the proper precautions, which is therapy, which is sitting down at a round table and bringing everything to the forefront, which is being supportive of your child. Those are the 3 things that she mentioned that she needed, and those are the things that would have made her better today. And I want to say, no, he didn't answer the phone today, but guess what? He gonna see this show. So if you're out there today, and anybody else, she is speaking not for herself, but for anybody else that is a woman who has dealt with any type of sexual abuse or being manipulated in any situation by another person, maybe older, younger, whatever the case may be. What is it that you would want to say to him if you could have a conversation with him right now today? What would you say to him?
I've actually tried reaching out to him. Like once that whole situation came to here, I tried to charge my other phone, even bring the text to show y'all. But I tried reaching out to him, like, you know, your brother brought this situation up now years later. I don't like how it was brought about. You know what was done. I put in very detailed. You know what you did, what happened, or whatever. We need to sit down and talk because, like, he's never even because basically. Without trying to go really too deep into the situation, it's like I still allowed him to be able to live his life. He never been able to be like, you know, thank you, or because my parents still put us around each other. He know what he really did. Mm-hmm. He know what happened. So it's like he still never even tried to have a conversation with me or even acknowledge to be like, thank you, because I suffered for everyone else around me. Like everyone else benefited. Him, the parents, everyone benefited besides me. And I didn't never get no type of nothing.
While you still living it and he's out here doing what he wanted to do.
Right.
Who knows what was next for him or anybody else that he could have came around or contact with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, absolutely. And it's I don't touch sexual abuse in my field of work. I will have a client who may have experienced it. But I always confide in a therapist, another therapist that I work with, or someone, because I don't know if it's because I haven't really experienced it in depth, sexual abuse, but I just want to say that for those who are abusers in this topic, in this field of conversation, these people again are saying that they are suffering from their experiences. And really all they want is accountability of your actions, accountability of what happened, not manipulation and lies or sugarcoating the story so that you look better. We need you to say, this is what I have done and I apologize for this. I apologize that now as an adult you are suffering through this in your life because of these experiences. I want you to know where I was in life because I don't know where these abusers are or why they get these urges to do these things. I don't know. Abused. Right. And so with that, you have to look within yourself as well, because you can't continue a race of abuse and trauma, because it comes out to be detrimental again to one another and to the culture. So when there are stigmas about black women being angry, and when there are stigmas about the black man being abusive, or when there are stigmas about anybody in the black culture in general, we have to understand again where we come from, where the history is. We have to understand those things to understand how to identify those triggers and to move forward with life. So Zoe, you had something to say? Oh, I thought you raised your hand.
Oh, no, I'll scratch my head.
Oh, okay. So, you good? We're gonna actually get into wrapping up, guys, because this conversation can go on forever, and we already hit a few marks. I got a few messages over here. And thank you guys so much. I actually think that we should like take a toast or something before we leave out. You think you can bring a bottle over here of the Bel Air or the cupcake rosé or something?
Preferably the cupcake roll. No, I don't think it's nothing.
And if anybody else want to say something to closing remarks, I also want to say before we toast, I wanted everybody to, because we did say who people was when y'all started to talk. But again, I want to remind y'all that this is Juneteenth. With it being Juneteenth, we are celebrating the freedom of Black people in the United States. We are celebrating the fact that they were able to build, they were able to create, they were able to lead, and the fact that they went through so much trauma for us to be here today and to be able to create. So thank you so much, Juneteenth, for this celebration for our ancestors and everything like that behind it. I want to shout out our businesses as well. I want to say, Miss Betty, you can go ahead and tell them who you are really quick.
Well, my name is Betty Holvin. Betty and I on Instagram. Betty is an acronym that stands for Be Everything That Is You. That is why that's what I like to do. I like to inspire people and support people in being everything that's them. That's why I'm here today. No, but honestly, I have my own women support group. It's called Soul Soarers. We are soarers of the soul. That's what connects us all, right? And I'm just a divine light, divine reflection. And I'm here to support. That's what I do, you know.
Alright. Yeah. Thank you so much, Betty. Okay, Shay, you want to start anything out?
My business name is so ghetto when I had to say it.
Girl, don't do that. I met somebody named the Coochie Coach and come in.
Oh my God.
She teaches you
Oh yeah,
about
Nikki,
your
Nikki the
vagina.
Coochie Coach.
She
Yes,
will
she
let you
does.
know everything that you need to know. So don't be ashamed.
Shout out
of
to
your
Nikki
name.
Brown. Shout out to Nikki Brown, the Coochie
Yes.
Coach. Yeah.
Okay, I'm Push A on Instagram is That's Dinners. Yeah, you can hook me up for booking any of your events. I do catering. So yeah, that's me.
Yes, okay.
Wicked.
What about you, lady?
My name is Ty Hobson. I'm actually, my Instagram name is Jammin' Jamie, so I do masks, but we don't need no more. But I do wine glasses. I do these shirts made by me that me and I have on Juneteenth shirts.
There nobody
At, at Jammin_Jamie.com and on Instagram. And I also do photography, Purple Passion Pictures. Y'all can go follow me there. I do every event. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm your girl.
Alrighty. And Hemi, you want to go ahead and shout yourself out?
My name Amy. Yeah, that's about it.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes.
We always being so bashful, like some big huge stars, and we're like, yeah, I'm just here for support. Yeah, that's my name. Amy.
Oh,
It's so much more.
Hemi, that's
It's
all
so
you
much
get.
more. Catch me being what I'm being while I'm not being.
Hemi! Can we get a note? Psych note. All right,
Can I have a closing remark?
yes, somebody from the audience. Let's sit right here.
So to that.
Real quick. Oh, we about to tour. I'm sorry, we tour while you talking. Go ahead. So, alrighty. We so Zoe, I'm sorry, go ahead. Ooh! It's a celebration. Wait a celebration.
That's what I'm talking about.
Wait a minute.
The bottle went up to the ancestors back on them.
Alright, that's not up to the ancestors.
Wow.
Zoe was about to touch on something for our closing remarks. Zoe, let me hear what you gotta say, babe. That's gonna look crazy. Go ahead, Zoe.
As a closing remark, I say for all the parents out there, pay attention to your kids for real, because they are the future. And through the experiences that we all went through, it's like we gotta go through it in the future. Me, I have no children at the moment, but I'm taking heed of everyone else. As they, so I'm also learning how to raise my future child.
Yeah,
That part.
that is very
Great.
important.
Wow.
Of course, the experience I went through.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
All right, just take the bottle from me at this point.
And I also would like to say Happy Father's Day.
Thank you so much. It's very crucial. Shout out
Happy
to the fathers
Father's
that's
Day.
doing their thing. in our culture and our women. Let's continue to. We take the.
Oh.
Let's continue to uplift our fathers and empower our black fathers because we need them in our lives and our community. Vice versa, let's empower our black women. But go ahead, finish. I'm sorry.
And also, I would like to take the time to thank Aya and everyone for coming out here for supporting and everything. Like, it touches a lot, so you know we have little sentimental moments going on.
Yeah.
And like, even though it touched us, I know it touched a lot of people out that's watching. So it's like, I say the biggest thing I tell people, this is a therapy session if everybody didn't know.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing I tell people, even if you don't have nobody to talk to, is take a breather, a deep breath.
I love breathing, meditation.
Yeah, that's that breathing meditation. That's something we never really think of, but it happens every day.
Hold for 5 seconds. It's healing and breathing.
Thank you. Like we need to explain that to others and also take heed of it. It helps a lot.
It does. That is my favorite method because that hold for 5 seconds in the nose, out the mouth, guys. In the nose, deep breath, out the mouth. This is the technique, and that's how it works. 3 times at the least. Okay, it actually calms you down. It gets the blood flowing. That's what it is. It's putting oxygen into your veins through your blood flow, and it's releasing that anxiousness. And it's actually amazing breathing. I love meditating. It's my favorite.
Yeah.
So let's do a toast, guys, to Juneteenth and to thank you to everybody, even in the audience. Come on up, take a step on up. Thank you guys so much. I got a little spots on me from.
I'm so tall. Am I even still on the camera?
I'm right behind you. Right.
Oh, y'all done. All right, so guys, I just want to say thank you so much, guys. Let's keep creating. Let's keep prospering. Let's keep healing. Let's keep helping. Let's keep doing our thing. Anybody else want to say something to just toast? No? All right, let's I'm sorry.
I just wanted to say a big shout out to all the dads out there for Father's Day. The dads that are not as prevalent in their children's lives the way that they want to because they are fighting through a lot of childhood traumas that they can't seem to get over. And so shout out to you. We hold a space for you. We shooting light and love to you as well.
All right.
And don't forget shout out to the stepfathers too.
Shout out to the
stepfathers, because you know the stepdad.
I'm looking
It's stepdad season. All right, come on guys. So love y'all so much. Look out. Make sure y'all stay tuned for episode 5. Love you guys. All right, so guys, as you already know, I do a lot of mental health counseling. I am a behavioral specialist. I do have my bachelor's degree in social work, also a degree in activities therapy. I have been doing a lot of life coaching, a lot of motivational speaking, and everything like that. And so now I have gotten to a point with my She's a Queen brand, along with the holistic therapy, where I have wrote a book. And this is a short guidebook. This guidebook is basically your 3-step guide to life. I put 3 major steps in this book, and in these 3 major steps, if you keep mindfulness of these 3 major steps and you go through life considering them, you will maneuver on your journey a little bit better. Okay, it's a little personal, little experiences of God and everything like that. But yes, this is my new book. This isn't the final one. This is actually a sample, so it looks a little bit different when you guys get it. If you want to get it now, it is available today, June 19th, Emancipation Proclamation Day, Freedom of the Black Culture. It is available today on Amazon for Kindle ebook for $7.99 only today, and it will go back up to regular price. And it is also available paperback and signed on my website at www.she'saqueen.online. Love you guys. I hope you get it, read it, support, and understand it is a movement. Bye.